Welcome back to another episode of Draft Junkies. We have the crew's here today. I'm excited to go over this linebacker list. We got Mike and Chris from Deep Cover Podcast. Again, can't say thank you guys enough for doing this with me. This is one of my favorite shows, even though, again, nothing comes from this show because the way we do it, YouTube be picking it, and I'm just like it. I just want to do the show and talk good ball. So nothing comes from this show. It's on YouTube. I'm doing X. Maybe some shorts will come from it, but this is a stream where we just talking football. There's no money attached to it because YouTube ain't gonna let that happen. Well, the NFL, one of them ain't gonna let that happen. But I just like doing the show, and then I don't want to keep cutting the clips like they asked me to because the people that watch it later, like somebody may be making a good point, then it cut out right in the middle of their point, and then it bounced back low. So just know. This is pure ball talk. There ain't no agenda to it. It's three guys that have watched different players, have not conversed about them beforehand. I'm finna put our collective minds together and give you our best opinion of 6 linebackers today. We gave you 9 last week, but that show kind of went way longer than it should have. So we cut it down to 6. We got 2 apiece, and going forward, we'll do 2 apiece that way. So welcome back, guys. How was your week going forward?
It was tiring. It was a busy one. I had my youngest birthday, and I just dropped them off at their mom's today. So,
yeah. Get the woos off for a second.
It was good. It was a good week. It wasn't stressful. Just tired. That's all. Just tired.
I did see y'all playing in the storm of the century. Well, it wasn't the storm of the century. The aftermath of the storm of the century. Them little girls, we getting out there in the snow.
Yeah, they were like, look, we going out because they wanted to go out the day before when it just started snowing. I'm like, it didn't stick to the ground yet. Like, what are we gonna do outside? And they was like, we better go tomorrow. So I was like, I got you.
It laid down the law.
Aye, Captain. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I can't complain. We ain't been dealing with no snow like that. We had another little thing come through, but it was light this time. But it's been solid so far. It's been solid. We hump day, 2 more to go. Get to this weekend.
All right, and I don't know. It says 39 people watching, so you guys come on in, tap that like button, and
for the 39 watching, and the people who are gonna watch after this. Before you put it in the comments, we're not saying take a linebacker in the first round.
Right. Thank you for the disclaimer.
A lot of people get this show confused and think, well, the Ravens not going to draft such and such. Well, the Ravens not going to draft. This is just a draft show. So just putting that out there.
Thank you, Chris. I've been meaning to say that because everybody we put is like, well, we don't need that. This is not this.
They did it last year when we were talking about running backs. People were like, running back. Why are you talking about running backs? It's like, we like some of these running backs. Like, that's who we want to talk about, these running backs.
Like yesterday, I watched Jeremiah Love. Man,
I don't know why you did that.
Man,
I don't know why you did that.
Man. Ooh, let's go over to the linebackers before we get off track.
There's a team I hope he doesn't go to.
Yeah,
in that top 10.
In the top 10?
Yeah.
It's a team I hope he don't go to, but they ain't in the top 10. Which one you talking about?
Chiefs.
Oh, they in the top 10?
I think they're 9. I think they
that is the one I'm thinking about. Yep. That's the one I was thinking about. So yeah, I hope he gonna go there.
Yeah.
I hope and Chris, he ran they was in trips and they motioned him out into the slot and he ran now he didn't catch the ball. It was against Miami. He didn't catch the ball, but he ran a out route. He went inside, got the DB to open up, stemmed him back outside, then broke on an out route. If it wasn't for zero for Miami, who I think is Scott is zero. If he wasn't for him being so good of a DB, that is a heck of a route from a running back.
Yeah.
He ran that thing like a legit slot receiver. And if he get into the offense like he could be Jahmyr Gibbs, he could be what's my other Bijan. That dude could be special.
Yeah.
He could be special. But And if you want to see my football thoughts on that, the video is on More Sip the Tally. It's called something about love, the importance of love, the power of love, or something like that. And it's a picture of him with the heart sign on the thumbnail. I did it just yesterday, so you can go check that out. Not now, but later. So today we're gonna give you linebackers, and we're going to start with Jacob Rodriguez. So let me switch scenes here, and
which is actually a smooth transition because they really kind of are like mirror positions. Really, running back and linebacker, particularly off the ball linebacker. So you were professional. You did that so smooth.
I work. Hey, trying to work on it. Trying to work on my craft. But let's talk a little bit about Jacob while he's on the screen. All 4 years at Texas Tech. I'll skip freshman and sophomore years, and I go straight to junior and senior. 740 snaps as a junior. 82.5 defensive grade. 73.3 run D grade. 76.5 in pass coverage. Last year, 772 snaps, a 93 defensive grade, 94.8 run D grade, and a 92.3 pass rush grade. He had 94 tackles, 13 missed tackles. Well, no, 13.9 missed tackle percentage. Sorry. 6 pressures, 1 sack, 4 interceptions, and 3 PBUs. And you see my strengths and weaknesses on the screen. A sideline player. Violent hands when he was up against linemen and running backs. Runs through contact. A great leader, and Mike gonna kind of talk about some of that stuff that he told us about today. And when guards get their hand on him, sometimes they kind of, for lack of a better term, swallow him up. He kind of disappears sometimes when guard gets their hands on him. But and we'll start with you, Chris. So what you think about Jacob?
I love him. He's somebody who I would have easily picked if I think Mike got to him first, but I would have picked this dude easily because, you watch the tape and, you start watching this tape and I didn't know who the hell he was when I started doing this. I was watching Bailey. Then, you kind of see Romello Height. You're like, oh, Romello Height's good. Then you see Lee Hunter. You're like, Lee Hunter's good. But then you see number 10. And it's just play after play after play. You like another turnover? Damn! Like this dude just, whether it's an interception, a forced fumble recovery, like this dude is all over the place. And I was doing some research, and he actually came into college as a quarterback, and you see that those smarts come into play at the linebacker position. And to me, like that's where you want your smart guys. You want them to be linebackers. You want them to be the leaders of your defense. And you can see the instincts, the feel for the game that he has. You see it all on full display when you put his tape on. And I mean, obviously he has some size limitations. I don't think he's super duper small. Like when you just look at the listed height, 6'1", 235, you're like, all right, cool. But just the lack of mass that he has, the lack of length that he has, it can be a hindrance to him. And like you said, when those offensive linemen get their hands on him, it's like he has Velcro on him because it's difficult for him to get off of those blocks. There are some guys who are that size and smaller, and they're able to play with that physicality to get those bigger guys off of them. But he kind of stays a little bit stuck. But if you're drafting this dude, you're drafting him to be a playmaker. Like that is what you want him to do. You want him to run around, be free, and make plays for you and take the football away because that's what he does best.
I will say this. I don't see 235 when I watch the tape. But we'll have real numbers, on the show starting next week with the combine going on right now. We'll have legit numbers next week, but I don't see 235. But I do see a guy that plays hard.
He looks like a DB.
Yeah. He's like an old strong safety, old school strong safety.
Yeah, so this is gonna be showing my age a little bit. See if y'all remember this. It reminded me of another undersized linebacker from Texas Tech. Played in the NFL, played a long time. Actually, just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying Rodriguez go do that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm just saying the vibe.
I'm trying to think of the name. Who from Texas
play for the Dolphins.
I don't want to cheat. I know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You said it. Coach said it. So that's the vibe that I got. That's what it felt like watching this dude on tape, right? Just all over the field. Chris just mentioned it, making plays everywhere, turnovers. So that was like the last line that I had in my notes. The first thing was, and I got this from the scouting academy. I always taught us start with a body type of thing. So yeah, definitely undersized, I think, for the position. But looks to have good awareness and coverage, knows where to be in zone and the routes that can attack his area. So he's got good awareness and instincts there. Coach mentioned that missed tackle percentage. To me, he didn't bring his feet when he tackled. He's a lunge tackler. Right.
When he missed, when I went back and watched his missed tackles, Mike, he would contact and the feet would stop and he just slide off people. Almost every one of them was the exact same thing.
Yeah. So he'd get there, like you said, and wrap. But when you don't have your feet under you, guys are going to be able to run through those. So I think that's something that can be cleaned up. Some of it, the genetic stuff that you talked about, that is what it is. But some of the technique stuff can be cleaned up. Let's see what else did I have. Does a good job keeping his base, bending at hips, knees, and ankles as he approaches the tackle. So the position that he gets his body in to make tackles is very good. Yes. But sometimes that finishing technique is not, always what you need it to be. Light on his feet, change of direction, moves laterally like he's playing defense on the basketball court. Like this key of diagnosability. He sees it and gets from A to B quickly and efficiently, puts himself in position to make plays, right? That's something I heard a coach talk about one time. It's like, hey, look, I can scheme all types of things up, but I can't make the play for you. Right. And this guy puts himself in position to make a lot of plays, and then he makes them. He's going to lose some physical battles one-on-one, particularly with offensive linemen. Coach mentioned that. Some of that's just the genetic factor. But yeah, that last note I had was that he gave me those Zach Thomas vibes just because he's all over the field making plays and, not the biggest guy out there, but that doesn't, you wouldn't know that when you look at his tape. You would just be like, this is just a baller.
Mm-hmm. As far as the extra notes I had that I didn't just kind of jot down right there, when he times his blitzes up, he don't miss. Like when he blitzes from depth and don't show it, that's something that's like a heat-seeking missile, boy. He has I've seen him like come, and when they do see it, I see him get skinny and just keep running through the offensive lineman and or the running back. So to me, he's a really good, fundamentally sound linebacker, but he's going to need a superb athlete beside him to do what he do. Because again, the being undersized, the tackling at this point, and all we go off is what we see as for the tackling. I think he can get it cleaned up. I don't think it's a issue where this is gonna be like a detriment to his career, because most of tackling want to, and he definitely wants to. And so, he just get in there and run his feet and get better at that. He'll be good. And then in NFL, you ain't got to take him on head on. You can roll tackle. It's a bunch of different ways you can do it and get them down and be effective. You just got to get good at it and practice at the thing. Now, it's gonna be some time you got to take them on, and that's where the bricks in your pocket don't matter, like the DNA we talked about. But for the most part, that joker run from sideline to sideline. He pretty much is where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there, and he's pretty darn physical to be 6'1", 220. Because I don't see no 235.
No, but you go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say I was going
to transition to you saying you had some other nuggets that we talked about right before we fired off.
Oh, the award stuff. Yeah. So yeah, he won damn near every award that's out there.
This is going to take about 10 minutes
for linebackers and defensive players. Yeah, I'm not even going to list them all, but he won the Nagurski, he won the Bednarik, he won the Butkus. Chris mentioned he's a finalist in the Heisman. He was defensive 12, Big 12 defensive player of the year. He was Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl defensive player of the week. And there's a whole bunch of other awards if you go and Google his name and you go to the Texas Tech, his bio on the Texas Tech website, you will see them all. I mean, it is long just for 2025. So highly, highly decorated. But the point that I was going to jump in on that you talked about him, how helpful it'll be for him to have a high level athlete next to him. It's something I didn't think about as I was writing up my notes and stuff. You look at this defense. Chris talked about it. They got players everywhere.
Sure do.
Bailey, Romello Height, Lee Hunter, even the I guess he's strong safety or the safety was news. They got dudes everywhere.
They do.
And so what I didn't do which I usually try to do, is go back and look at least 1 year, a game or 2 or 3 of a prior year, just to kind of get a feel for like growth and development. And maybe I'll still do this now. We just won't see it, for everybody else to see. But I wonder what it looked like when he didn't have all these other dudes around him. Not taking anything away from him, because
that would be 2023.
Okay.
Because they start dishing out that money last year.
Yeah, because he did what he did. So not taking anything away from him, but I'm just curious. This is my mind is just like, okay, what did it look like when he didn't have as much to work?
Two of the best edge rushers, a really good DT. So that's a lot to put in front of you and can really accentuate your positives.
Yeah, no question. No question.
But I was gonna mention something somebody just put in it. I think Glaucoma put it in there. His instincts kind of make up for that supposedly 4.7 40. His instincts are off the chain, and that quarterback stuff in his background really helps him out for that. But he may not even be the toughest person in his household.
That's right.
I don't know what did you told us that a minute ago.
That was
Mike?
Chris. No, that was Chris.
Talk about his old lady, Chris.
He's married to a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. So his wife she's about that action. For real.
Yeah. Just disclaimer again, since Cam came in here and said that these are prospects that we like, or that we want to watch, we want to talk about. We don't think all of these prospects are for Ravens. So you don't have to put in the chat box, we don't like them, or we don't want them, or we can't do this. We just talking draft stuff. That's I just want to put, because everybody wasn't here when we did the disclaimer. But it's out there now. So we like these guys. We talk about different positions. We like the draft process. Kind of like the 2005 NBA draft process that's getting a lot of heat here these past couple of days. If you know, you know. If y'all don't know, I'll tell you about it when we done, Chris and Mike. There's a lot of heat going on about that 2005 draft class with Rashad McCants and Ray Belton and some mofos. Charlie Villanueva. I'll tell you about that later on, though. We talk football. Any closing thoughts about Jacob?
Yeah, I wonder where he goes in the draft, because obviously he has the physical limitations that we all spoke about. But when you watch the tape, you see that there's just something that you can't teach, and that's a nose for the football, and he clearly has that. And I'm interested to see how much the NFL has evolved, because back in the day, this dude, like, he would probably get no love back in the day.
Done.
But with the evolution of the game, do they go as high as the 3rd round for him? I'm going to be fascinated to see what the NFL thinks about him.
Well, remember, I mentioned to Zach Thomas. Guess what round Zach got drafted in? This was 5th. Nah, he was 5th round. Yeah, he was a 5th round pick. So okay. I'm not saying, Rodriguez would go in the 5th, but undersized guy who may not test like off the charts. That's mid, getting towards the back end of the draft, type of position typically. Even if you got a ton of production, sometimes that's just how that goes.
The only way I think he jumps up to day 2, day 1, day 2, is if he have them Teddy Buchanan type testing numbers, and not necessarily the 40, but with that broad and that vertical and stuff like that. And I don't know if he gonna have that.
Yeah.
All right, the second player on our list, good old Harold Perkins from Louisiana State University. Again, I do the same thing with Harold. I'll just do the junior and senior year. LSU in 2024, that's when he got hurt. He only played 224 snaps before playing 773 the year before. He had a 60 defensive grade, a 63.6 run D grade, a 60.6 pass coverage grade. And then last year, 707 snaps, 62.4 defensive grade, 69 run D grade, and 57.1 pass rush grade. Now, I will say this. As a true sophomore, Harold was off the chain. But when he got hurt, he changed a little bit. And so he's on the mend from that. But his numbers as a true sophomore are way better than his junior and senior numbers. The little quicks, elite speed, explosive first step and pass rush, recognizing plays, and his versatility. He can play a bunch of different positions. Because he actually could have been in the edge conversation as well. Negatives, too aggressive. His stack and shed needs work, and just durability coming off of that injury. Perkins, I see as a guy that can. He's probably going to be on the radar. Nobody's probably going to pick him high. His medicals may kind of hinder that, and then like the team wasn't very good, so he wasn't showcased a lot. But in 19 pressures, 3 sacks, 39 tackles, 21% missed tackles, 27 defensive stops, and 3 interceptions. What I will tell you this about Harold before I let the gentleman go after me, you probably won't find a more athletic linebacker, and that says a lot right there. You probably won't find a guy that has the physical tools that he has. Now, he may not be able to do what you want him to do all the time, but if you can take this ball of clay and mold it into what you want, you might have something special. Mike?
Yeah, that's first thing that jumped off to me too was I said athletic mover, his quickness catches your attention. Like it just jumps off the screen. Now, to your point, and a lot of people, because this was a question in my mind too about, okay, that sophomore season, when he was being used more as a pass rusher and was really, really effective in that role. And then you fast forward 2025, now he's playing more off the ball. Really star is essentially what he's playing. I mean, he's sometimes nickel, sometimes off the ball linebacker, sometimes on the edge. And I found this article, and I think it's their current defensive coordinator, who said after he came off the ACL, they talked about what he thought was the best position for himself. Not what the coach thought was Perkins. He said, Harold, what do you think is the best position for you? Because he said, obviously, he's listed at what, 6'1", 222. So he on the edge, that's you giving up a lot, in terms of size on the edge. And coach was like, look, I want to hear from you. And he said star. Perkins said he felt like star was his best position because it allowed him to maximize his athleticism, right? Because you're going to be playing in more space. You're going to be playing in more different roles, and it's going to be hard for offenses to really game plan and get a beat on you because you're going to be everywhere.
Right.
And I think you see that when you watch some of these clips, especially when you watch his 2025 tape. He's kind of all over, right? Yep. So let's see. What did I have in addition to that? I think you see some of that versatility in coverage. I think because this was the first year that he played star like full time. He probably still learning some stuff, in terms of coverage and playing off the ball and playing more in space. But when you're that athletic, there's tools there to work with. This is going to sound like I have a lot of negatives, but I'm just reading notes. So it doesn't mean that I don't like the player, but I'm just saying this as stuff pops into my head that I see things, I just jotted down. So I said, athletic mover, quickness, looks undersized, drops his head on contact, can't see what you hit when you do that. So his eyes were a little undisciplined in coverage. A couple times where he was jogging behind plays, struggled to win one-on-one physical battles versus the O-line. Again, that's his size. I can't, you know what I'm saying? If you're 222, that's just what it is.
Right.
But what gives him an advantage is his athleticism. Let's see. Looks like a guy who's still learning to play off the ball. I saw in how they were using him, not comparing him to the player, but a little bit at how the Ravens were using Trent Simpson this year.
Yes.
A little bit of that. I saw a little bit of that, right? And he seems to be, you could tell that even though he feels like star and being in space and doing these other things is a better fit for him because in terms of durability, I think he believes that too, and it allows him to make more plays. But you see a different speed and a different level of aggression when he's attacking the quarterback. Like when he's fitting runs and playing in space, okay, yeah, he's athletic and he's moving. But when he's going forward and going after the quarterback, it's like a different gear that he goes into. So I'm not really sure what that translates to into what you do with him. I think wherever he goes, it's going to have to be a group of coaches who say, look, we're going to have to craft something for this guy to get the most out of what he can do. We can't square peg, round hole him into our system. We're going to have to craft something uniquely for him to get the most out of him.
And the one other little nugget on there, LSU don't let anybody wear 7.
No, that 7 jersey. That means something there.
Yeah, LSU don't let anybody wear 7. Now, I don't think he's an early pick, but I think Chris probably going to say it. Right fit. He going to be good for somebody. There's a clip on here. I remember exactly where it's at. But he's rushing the passer, and the tackle goes to punch him, and he hits his hand and dips his shoulder so quick. I'm like, this here right there. That was it right there.
Yeah,
Bro. I understand you like, but you can make some money going to get that quarterback, Chris.
absolutely.
Yeah, you go back a few years ago, and Harold Perkins looked like he was going to be that dude. Like, after those first 2 years, it's like, man, freshman comes in and goes crazy. Sophomore year has a good year. Then he has that weird switch to off-ball linebacker, and everybody's like, the hell? Like, this dude was terrorizing quarterbacks. Like, why are you doing this? And then, unfortunately tears his ACL. So it's been a rough last couple of years for Perkins. But like Mike said, when you see him rush that passer, is a different level of speed that he has. And I think if he was maybe 20 pounds heavier, he'd be in the same conversation as guys like R. Mason Thomas and Cassius Howell, who, not the same kind of players, because I think those guys tap into their physicality more. I think they lean more towards power than Perkins does. I think Perkins is just, right now, he's more into being elusive. Like, you can't touch me. You can't catch up to my speed. But I think he would be like in that same type of bucket if he was just 20 pounds heavier, because those dudes are undersized. And this dude at 222, he's extremely undersized. So, it's going to be difficult. And, like you guys said, he's going to have to go to a team that has a specific plan for him. It's not going to be, oh, you're going to be, our traditional off-ball linebacker. Like, no, this needs to be a specialized role. You have to have a certain vision for him. And, I think the good news for him is that defensive coaches are just getting more and more creative and finding ways to get these type of players, these specialized players, on the field, finding fits for them. And I think for him that'll be so important, because there's obvious skill there. You look at a guy who, he hunts passers like that. That'll be a gift that any defensive coordinator will want. Now it's just finding a way to utilize that in a way where he won't be overwhelmed by tackles. You're not going to have him playing on the edge, 30 snaps a game or whatever it is. He's going to be somebody who can provide something for you, as far as being not a Swiss Army knife, but somebody who could do just a little bit of everything for you.
Just look at Eamon Ward. Eamon Ward was just an athlete. I mean, I know he played safety at South Carolina, but his real position was athlete. And look at the success he had. I mean, look at Kyle. Perkins probably is just athletic as both of those guys. He's probably not as fast as Eamon Ward. I feel like he rushed the passer better than Kyle. I feel like, you get a defense coordinator that got some kind of Mike McDonald in it. Perkins would fit that role well.
And it's interesting
give you a lot more pass rush. Go ahead, Mike.
It's interesting how you go up the levels, how they get more rigid in their structures and their systems, because you see him being used in these different ways on his college tape right now. And then, Coach, it better than me. You think about high school coaches, whatever you can do to help us win, that's where we go put you at.
Right.
I don't care what it say on paper your position is. You go play whatever.
Yeah.
If it's going to help us win. But then, you get to NFL, and I understand it's different reasons for why they have to be a little bit more rigid. But I'm just like, you when you have talent like this, if it doesn't work out, as long as it's not off the field or injury, it's not really going to be because of him. Right. It's because somebody didn't think outside of the box enough to find a way to maximize what this young man can do. So I hope, that he goes to a place that will offer that, will have that plan, like Chris said, for him.
Now, as far as prospects, like to say with his numbers and all that stuff, that's not going to like really shine. But this weekend, if he participates, he can make some money. He can make some money. If he blaze a 40 like what he was pre-injury, every defensive coordinator eyes gonna light up, Because right now he's in my eyes, he day 3 in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
This weekend he could be late day 2. That's a whole lot different money.
Yep.
All right. Our next guy on the list is Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio State. And buddy, this dude right here. Hold on. 2024.
The artist formerly known as Arvell.
Oh, what's his new name?
Vell.
Okay. Vell Reese.
That's what he had at the combine. So,
okay.
Vell Reese.
Yeah, I would have dropped the AR too. Yeah. Call me Vell. Right. 2024, he had 309 snaps. Did he redshirt in 2023?
No, I think he's a true junior.
Oh. So he just maybe just had some special team snaps, kind of like.
That's what it was
last week.
They was all special teams. He had like 60 snaps. It was all on special teams.
Oh, is that the one we talked about?
You said he had a concussion, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I knew I had, because I put all this stuff on a document. And I lost it. That's why I had to try to do it right. I knew we talked about this dude, but special team snaps 2023. I think it was 59. 2024, 309 snaps, 76.4 defensive grade, 76.4 run D grade. Pass coverage was 68.7. Last year, 651 snaps, a 76.5 defensive grade, 86.5 run D grade, and his pass coverage grade went down to 56.6. He had 27 pressures, 8 sacks, 6 QB hits, 13 hurries, 67 tackles, only 4 missed tackles, and then 34 defensive snaps. You see the little pluses and minuses I have for him down there. But this is Chris. This your guy or this my guy?
My guy.
So you start us off with Vell Reese.
Mike didn't want him. Mike said he hated him. Oh no, I'm just playing. Yeah, Arvell Reese. You watch it, and if you watch him one week, he'll be doing something opposite the other week. He was a do-it-all linebacker for Matt Patricia's defense. Whether he was asked to rush the passer, set an edge, spot a QB, drop back into coverage, play man, Reese was asked to be their guy. Like similar to how the Ravens used Kyle Hamilton in 2025. And to me, like that's the vision that I have for him, because to me, he's not a pass rusher. He's not a natural pass rusher. And when I say that, it's not a knock on him. Like when I watch Jalen Walker, when I watch Micah Parsons, and even going back to Micah's draft process, he said, I am a pass rusher. Like that, even though he played linebacker, he was like, I am a pass rusher. And the same thing with Jalen Walker. You can see in his game, those dudes are pass rushers. Arvell Reese, I don't see him as a natural pass rusher. I see him as a linebacker. He has that aggressive mentality. He has that thirst to be physical, and he wants to get hands on blockers. He wants to, make the big pop. And to me, like, that's not to say that he can't be a pass rusher, because you watch him rush the passer and he has explosion. He has pop in his hands where you see him jolt back offensive tackle. So that's not to say that he can't do it, because I think he can. But when you talk about Kyle Hamilton, you don't say Kyle Hamilton is a pass rusher. But when you watch him rush the passer, there is a great argument to be made that he was the Ravens' best pass rusher last year.
Yeah.
And I think Arvell Reese can provide you some of the same thing. And you say, like, oh, how could this guy be compared to Kyle Hamilton? Kyle Hamilton was not a safety last year. Kyle Hamilton was a linebacker.
Right.
And I think the same can be done with Arvell Reese. And obviously, it's not to say Arvell Reese is Kyle Hamilton. I'm just talking about usage-wise. We just spoke about how
positionless football was mentioned by, was it Mike McDonald? Somebody here recently. And that's what they kind of headed to with athletes like Reese.
Yeah. And, obviously you have a guy wearing so many hats on the defense, and people want to say Isaiah Simmons and, mention those kind of guys. But when you watch this dude play, he can play linebacker in the NFL. Like, he doesn't lack physicality. He doesn't lack motor. He doesn't lack the instincts to play the position. He has a good feel for the game. And to me, whoever is going to draft him, they need to have that plan where we're not just going to stick this dude in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be. I mean, obviously, you want him to learn the tricks of the trade. You don't want to just throw the whole book at him, but don't pigeonhole him and just say, okay, you are our off-ball linebacker. Okay, you are our edge rusher. Give him a little bit here and there, and then just let him gradually get his game up to speed, because I do think that he can have a Kyle Hamilton type of impact for a team. Well, Kyle Hamilton 2025 type of impact for whatever defense he's on.
Think about this, Chris. And I thought about it as you was talking. He might be ahead of the curve in some of that stuff because of who his DC was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, and look at how much Matt Patricia trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
He threw a bunch at him, and there were games where, all right, you have a quarterback who likes to run. Let me introduce him to Arvell Reese, because he is our spy, and your quarterback will have to stay in that pocket. He did it with Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, he was like, all right, you got a 5-star guy who likes to run. All right, boom. Let's take this away and keep your guy in the pocket. And Arvell Reese was able to do that. Mm-hmm.
Mike?
Yeah, him and Sonny Styles, these are like creative player body types. When you look at them, both dudes, tall, long arms. Like I just in it, particularly for Vail, since we're talking about Vail, stay one at a time.
6'4", 243. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, and just an NFL body type. Just look at him on film. He that's the body type. That's how you want it to look. So yeah, that's one of the first notes I had. I was like, just pro body type, athleticism is his calling card. Allow him to play multiple roles, and Chris listed some of those roles. Physical and violent edge setter in the run game. Versus tight end base blocks, and pulling O linemen. Like he would just attack those dudes in the backfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just like stand them up. Or even if he didn't get into the backfield, because that's usually where you go create an advantage for yourself as a linebacker, is if you can get to those guys before they turn to you and you get them while they're going sideways, you can knock them over like bowling pins. But even when they would kind of get closer to the edge, it was like a wall. Right,
Mm-hmm.
he'd throw that wall up there and force that ball to go inside. We talked about the versatility and alignments. I think he's still learning to play off the ball a little bit. You could just see it in some of his processing sometimes, mainly in coverage. His run fits okay. I didn't see anything like, oh, okay, this guy's slow to kind of see it or understand it. But in coverage, I think he's still developing in that area. Definitely a point of attack player. He wasn't a block slipper.
Mm-mm.
Wasn't a whole lot of slipping blocks. It was taking on everything and taking it on violently. Speed and explosiveness makes him dangerous as a blitzer, as well as on stunts and games. And to Chris's point about pass rushing, I said that his bag is limited right now as a pass rusher. Right, you see mostly speed, outside speed rush, bull rush. He'll mix in a long arm every now and then, but you don't really see a variety of other moves. And like we talked about before, you ain't got to have a ton of moves. You really just need like one or two and a good counter. So, if physicality and power is your calling card, then yeah, stick with that bull and that long arm. And then you've got speed in there as well. And then if you mix like an inside counter, you got those three, you'll be good to go. But I just don't think the polish and the refinement is there yet, just because it wasn't something that he was asked to do as consistently as some of the other pass rushers that we've already talked about. But you've seen, who was Chris? It was probably Dane Brugler was probably the first guy who was talking about this guy like a top 10, top 5 type of player.
Yeah, he was definitely number one.
Like back in the summertime, he was talking about that before they even started playing, and people were like, "Well, I don't really see the production. This guy's only played, 1 year, and
that's one of my negatives too."
Yeah, but I think he's doing the thing he did with Dane. I think he's doing the thing he did with Trayvon Walker.
Right.
He's looking at the traits, and he's like, you don't see traits like this very often. So I'm gonna trust the traits and say that the coach, wherever he lands, will figure it out, or they better figure it out.
Right, and I'm thinking about. This guy, Harold Perkins, those are two athletic freaks that their best position is probably gonna be football player. They can, just put on the field, right?
On the field.
Just football player. And we're starting to see more of those guys. You're starting to see more athletes that can play more roles and can do a bunch of different things instead of just, I'm a Mike linebacker, I play B gap to B gap. The days but them are old because the offenses are so sophisticated right now. You can't stick a young Ray Lewis in there and expect him to do what he did. When Ray Lewis dropped that weight a little bit, he had to change his game. The later on he got in his career and the more NFL started throwing it, Wade had to drop some of that weight and be able to run and chase some of these cats. But young Ray Lewis would just up and knock your head off because you can't get to me because Goose is in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. You just get more athletes on the field, and you can get more kids out of that goddamn gym. Because 6'4" in the NBA right now is during that point guard.
Yeah.
You think about it. Look how big he looked on the NFL field. He 1 inch taller than Steph Curry. And y'all know how small Steph look on TV.
Yeah.
So you get these guys out the gym, get them on the field, and just let them be athletes. They, freaks of nature. You get you 2 NFL contracts and get out of there before you get 2 in the brain. You good. You good at 32, and then don't mess around and be really good. You go in the Hall of Fame or whatnot.
Yeah.
Freaks of nature. All right, next on our list is Aiden Fisher, linebacker from Indiana, 6'1", 231. And no, this is not Jacob Rodriguez without a uniform. This is a different individual. This is Aiden Fisher from Indiana. Let me pull up what I got for him. Aiden Fisher, that is. 6'1", 231. First, I'm going to talk about his early time because he wasn't at Indiana the whole time. The first 2 years at JMU. Freshman year, didn't play much. Sophomore year, 809 snaps at James Madison. 65 defensive grade, 55 run D, 72 pass coverage. Transferred to Indiana with the current coach because that's where their Signetti came from, JMU. 746 snaps, 67 defensive grade, 80 run D grade, and a 50 pass coverage grade. So the run D went up, pass coverage went down. And then last year in the national championship run, my bad, I thought I had this playing. Their national championship run, 759 snaps, 61.8 defensive grade, 69.3 run D grade, and then the pass coverage grade is 65.2. He had 21 pressures, 4 sacks, 5 QB hits, 12 hurries, 103 tackles, 16% missed tackles, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown off of an interception as well. Chris, Aiden Fisher.
Aiden Fisher, probably one of my favorite players in the draft period, not just linebacker, but this is somebody who I was pleasantly surprised when I was watching. I was watching 6 from Indiana, the pass rusher.
The edge dude.
Kamara, and I'm like, I think Mikael Kamara, and I'm like, who the hell is this white dude? Like, all over the place. And you do some digging and you find out he wasn't ranked coming out of high school. Like you said, coach played at JMU. Kurt Signetti, phenomenal eye for talent, because I don't know how the hell you get this dude and he's not even ranked. Like, that's just crazy eye for talent. Obviously follows him to Indiana. And all he did was be a 2-time first team All-American. That's all he did at Indiana. Win himself a national championship. But you pop on the tape and there aren't any traits that stick out to you. You don't watch him and you're like, oh, wow, this guy is fast. Oh, wow, this guy is super physical. Oh, he's built like a Greek god. None of that pops out to you. But what does pop out to you is the IQ that he has, the feel that he has for the game, the instincts that he has. It's very rare you watch him on a play and you'll see him be outsmarted or you'll see him fooled on a play. There was a play where Oregon tried to run a double reverse and he didn't even move. Like, he didn't even flow to the side where the fake was going. And he sniffed it out so quickly. And it's not like, oh, that's just a one-time thing. Like, he does that every single game, week in, week out, where he's not being fooled. He's lining guys up. He's communicating with everybody. And he is the general of that defense. And with a guy like him, I don't care about 40 time. I don't care about the measurables. I just know I want this guy in the middle of my defense. And I don't know if maybe I'm overcorrecting because I missed out on somebody who was similar to him. But this dude, he reminds me of Chris Borland so much. who, if you remember, when he was coming out, he had the same physical limitations. Didn't wow you physically, didn't wow you with his physical attributes or anything like that, or the traits that he had. But on the field, he was just so smart and so instinctive, and he was having a great career with the Niners before he retired. But this dude, he reminds me so much of Chris Borland.
Before you go, Mike, I will say this, and I meant to say this about Jacob too. Their ball skills are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
When they get close to the football, like for interception purposes, both of their ball skills are pretty good. And I meant to mention that about Jacob earlier, but I forgot. Mike?
Yeah, I had not really watched any of him. I mean, of course, Indiana was on TV, so you see him in the games, but I not watched him in the way that we watch for this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think I put this in our group chat. It reminded me of that Avengers line, right? Captain America asking Tony Stark, "Hey, we need a plan. Hold up, what's your plan?" He's like, "I got a plan. Attack." That's what this dude does. He attacks when he's going downhill. He very rarely false steps. It's one of the things that I had in my note. He attacks downhill. Active pre-snap communicator. Chris talking about being the leader. Like he's communicating all of the time, getting people lined up. You can tell that he's reading formation and getting keys and tendencies from formations and stuff, because he's signaling things to people to say, hey, look, just based on what I'm seeing here, here's what's probably coming, right? So you can see that when you watch him. Slips blocks efficiently. A lot of people will try to slip blocks, but they do it in an exaggerated way, right? That get them out of their gap or cause them to lose leverage on the ball carrier. His are very subtle. You can see right on that rush right there against that back, just a little shimmy and bang, right? Instead of
this might be one of the plays right here. I think this is one. Watch this, Mike.
I remember this one. But
how he gets through here untouched, I do not know.
That stood out to me though, because a lot of times with guys who are trying to slip as much as he does, it can get exaggerated. See, look at that.
And that's Caden Proctor.
Yeah. And that's why I say running back and linebacker are mirror positions, because that, if you reverse it and think about it from the other side, that looks like a running back cutting, planting his foot in the ground and cutting. It's exactly what it looks like. So that's why they've always kind of been mirror positions for me. And I like, to Chris's point too, he doesn't move just to move, right? He reads his keys and he moves with purpose.
Right.
Sometimes guys are just moving every little thing they see, motion, this happens, that happens, they moving here, moving there, no, he'll just kind of stay there until he sees what he needs to see, and then he goes, and he gets there in a hurry. So a lot of positives that I had. Said, let's see, I think his and you mentioned this, and this might show up a little bit, I guess, in his coverage grade. I said his change of direction in space looks a little limited. Looks like he might be a little tightly wound in the hips. Flashes some twitch and some rush moves as a pass rusher. I think we saw that a little bit. When he's reading and not attacking versus the run, he seems to catch blocks more than strike and shed them. So didn't happen a lot. Most of the time he's attacking.
I got a note that may emphasize that too. I got when does a good job of disengaging with the offensive line on the second level. So that's mostly guards. But I got bigger tackles engulf him. I feel like versus the guards, he does a good job because he's going downhill, attacking gaps. But when them tackles, he kind of waiting to see what they're gonna do. And when you said that immediately made me think about why I wrote this down in my notes.
Yeah. That, to me, it was just like, hey, when he's playing his game, which is attack, he's gonna be right more often than not. But sometimes when he's kind of reading, and that's a good point that you made, I need to go back and check that too to see that context of when it was happening. That could explain it. What I like that he's doing this is gonna sound like a negative, but I like that he does it. I said sometimes he'll take overly aggressive angles to the ball. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Sometimes your body might not be able to cash all those checks that you're writing, but mentally he sees it and he's like, I'm just going to go and make this play. So I'm okay with that. I don't think you ever want to take a player's stinger away from him. Don't ever take the stinger away. That's his stinger, is being aggressive. So let him keep doing that. I say he could look unsure in coverage at times. But I think that might just be because his mentality, his playing mentality is attack. It's not sitting back and reading. It's attack. But you can develop that. You can get better at that, depending on where you go and the kind of things that they ask you to do in their scheme. And obviously he fit very well and played very well in this game. Chris probably won't like this part. this comp. This is it's a very narrow comp. It's not a player comp. It's his style, right? The way he plays to me. I know you said Chris Borland, which is a much more positive comp. It reminds me of PQ in a lot of ways. That style,
that's not bad. It's not
that
bad.
style of attack, like when I'm at my best, I'm attacking. Don't have me read. Don't have me drop back. Let me just go forward, go forward, go forward. That's where I said stylistically, I see some similarities. Now, I think.
Speaking of running back, that's what he went to LSU as.
Yeah, he was a running back. Yep. He was a really good running back in high school. I think he played, but I mean, as most guys do, but he was also a really good running back in high school. I think Fisher, this was my caveat. I said, I think Fisher sees the game a little more clearly than PQ, right? Everything's not going 1,000 miles an hour like it was at times for PQ. I think Fisher is a little bit better processor at this point.
Same type of rep right here, Mike, on Pregnon.
Yeah. But just that attacking mentality where if you get these guys going downhill, you see them at their best as opposed to trying to have them go backwards.
The notes I have for him, I gave you two of them. I'll give them again. He does a good job of disengaging with offensive linemen on the second level, especially with the guards trying to get on him. His short area quickness is really good, as you saw about the disengaging with this Alabama rep and the one versus Oregon, and both of those guys are probably going to be day 1 or day 2 drafts. That's Proctor and Pregnon, and those two guys they didn't even touch him. There was subtle, a sidestep and a dip of the shoulder, and he threw there. So he'll give you a little bit of pass rush, but I think his instincts are his biggest asset. His instincts are off the chain, and he's for the most part, a sure tackler. The only tackles I say that he looked bad on were guys that were obviously full speed and way bigger than him. But other than that, he was a sure tackler. One of the surest tacklers that I've seen, in a while. And I don't watch a lot of linebackers, coming out, but I ain't seen him miss very many tackles. I was impressed by him. I think he plays bigger than what he's going to measure. And so I don't know how much that's going to hurt him in the process. But again, this is a old school football player that's, using his instincts and his attack because he know he's limited in other areas. He can't get in space with a running back and be like, oh, hey, I got this. I got to cut this space before the running back see me coming and chop it down. Because if he see me coming and we athlete versus athlete, I might lose that. I might lose that.
In the NFL, ain't no might.
Right. You jump out there and it's Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry see you coming, you might get dribbled. Or Gibbs and Bijan, you ain't gonna touch them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next on the list. Bam. Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles, the other linebacker from Ohio State. He's number 0. What I got on Sonny? There he is. I just can't see it. All right, 2024, 897 snaps, 71 point. Did they win the national championship last year?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, they won it. They won it last year. Didn't they win it last year, Chris?
24.
Yeah,
I was talking about 24. So that's why he got all them snaps. 897 snaps, 71.4 defensive grade, 68 run D, 67.8 pass rush. And then 2025, 663 snaps, 88.6 defensive grade, 87.4 run D, 86.9 pass rush. And those are all pretty high numbers. You don't see that a lot. 15 pressures, 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, 12 hurries, 88 tackles, only 2 missed tackles. Only 2. 47 defensive stops, interception, and 3 PBUs. And you see the little bullets I have formed down there without going into a lot of detail until later. But Sonny Styles, this is yours, Mike, right?
Yeah. Another
creative
player type of body type when you look at him. Probably not as thickly built as Bell, but kind of the modern profile of linebackers in the NFL, right? Long, rangy, run, cover, and hit type of dudes, and that's what he does. He actually was a DB, I think, right, Chris? When he a safety, his first.
He was a safety. He played. He had a pretty good amount of snaps at safety.
Yeah, I think he was a safety, and I read an article where he had talked about how kind of transitioning to linebacker was kind of always the plan, because he did play some linebacker in high school too. But I think that he gained some weight. Obviously, I want to say he's 240 something now. I think he was like in the 220s when he first got there. But then I think part of the transition too was they had two guys who graduated, Tommy Eichenberg and Steele, maybe somebody last name might have been Steele. I can't remember. I think both their inside backers graduated, and so he moved there. And obviously he's flourished, particularly when Matt Patricia took over this year. But versatile in alignments. He moved around in a couple different places too. Didn't just play off the ball. Sometimes he'd play on the edge. Sometimes they'd walk him out and he'd kind of play in an apex, star nickel type of alignment. Not saying he was those guys, but in that type of alignment. Plus closing speed, physical, taking on and shedding blocks, especially against tight ends. But he will lose some one-on-ones versus offensive linemen. Again, just that kind of long, rangy frame. Not as kind of powerful as Vale was. So I think you'll see that sometimes with offensive linemen. Was a tackling machine. He will strike ball carriers when he tackles, right? This isn't just like a wrap-up tackler. This is a dude who will strike you when he tackles you, and you will go backwards. Let's see. Yeah, I talked about him moving from safety to linebacker. Let's see. Key and diagnose skills were okay right now to me, but I think it can get quicker. I think he can diagnose stuff even faster. But again, he's a guy, who made a position, transition. So he's still kind of developing, even though he's had 2 seasons as an off the ball player. Coach mentioned this earlier about how I think it's a benefit that him and Vale played in an NFL style system with Patricia coaching them. So I think that'll help their transitions. And then this is just a little nugget. It was like a curiosity thing for me. He lined up kind of deep. A lot of times you see linebackers right at 5 yards off the ball. Sometimes he'd be as much as 7 or 8 yards. Now that could have been based on the call too. Could have been a specific call to have him line up that way. But I wondered if they did that because it helped him see things better playing from depth. Because he talked about in that article I read about how much quicker things happen when you play linebacker versus safety. He's like, safety, and this was his words. He's like, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but he was like, you can false step a little bit more as a safety because you got time and space. He's like, you really don't have that as a linebacker. You got to see it and you got to be right. You take one wrong step and you could be out of position on the play. So sometimes when they line you up a little bit deeper, it's to give you a little bit more time to see things and react to them because they're happening so much more quickly when you play kind of up closer at that 5 yard depth. Speaking of PQ, we saw that a little bit with him a little bit. They moved him back 1 year. To kind of help him with that part of it. But yeah, I like Styles. I just think he kind of fits that profile of what you see in the NFL for linebackers these days.
Gotcha. Chris?
Yeah, Sonny Styles, like Mike said, creative player. You look at this dude and he just looks fake. Like he doesn't look like a real person. It's somebody created off of a video game, man. This is a guy who is a Ohio State. If it wasn't for Ohio State, he wouldn't be alive. Let's just put it like that.
His daddy, his mom,
his brother now. So, and his dad was a linebacker at Ohio State and played in the NFL for 6 years, won a championship with the Rams. And, obviously this dude has great genetics, just from a physical standpoint. Then when you talk about being the son of somebody who was in the NFL and his brother is also a collegiate football player, this is a football family. And that's what you want to see. Obviously a guy who was made Bruce Feldman's freak list. So if you know anything about the freak list, it's you got to be one of them ones to be on the freak list. And, they talk about he broad jumped 11 inches. 11 feet. Sorry.
Shit, I got him.
40-inch vert. Squatted 675. This guy is a genetic freak, and it's going to be on full display at the combine, and just not even on the combine, just on the field. Because usually when we see these guys who are
all they doing is field work.
Yeah, when we see these guys like who are these genetic athletic freaks, we kind of miss the point of they're actually playing football. And when you watch Sonny Styles, this guy's a football player. Like he is physical. He has pop in his hands. He's not just out there running around and looking cute. Like look at that take on right there. Like that is not somebody who's just trying to be the best athlete out there. There's somebody who relishes contact. And if you're playing linebacker, when I'm looking for a linebacker, I want somebody who relishes the contact, who's going to bring the ruckus, and he will do that. And just the way that he breaks down in space, I love how he tackles. To me, he's somebody who you can ask him to do a little bit of everything. There are certain linebackers, like some that we've talked about, like Aiden Fisher, where you can't ask him to do everything.
Right.
Sonny Styles, you can ask him to do everything. If you need him to play man,
player.
he can play man. If you need him to drop back in the zone, he could drop back in the zone. If you need him to set an edge, he could set an edge. If you need him to fit between the tackles, he will fit between the tackles. I love this dude. Damn, all of that, whatever the hell they want to say about non-premium positions and all of that shit. This dude is one of, if not the best player in this draft. And I love watching his game because I think this dude could be special.
I agree. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how in the HE double hockey sticks did Ohio State give up points?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you got to have 9 others, but these two?
Yeah.
You got the 2 best linebackers in the country on your team.
Well, you told me too about that point of the season where they were undefeated. Was they like 9-0 or 8-0, something like that? And they were leading in every defensive category. Points allowed, everything, turnovers, everything that you could think of. They were leading in every single category. So you think about these dudes, then you think about Caden Curry, Caden Crawford, Kenyatta. I mean, they dudes all over the place on this team.
I'm gonna need to start signing Matt Patricia. But what I got for Sonny, like I said, versatility, can play anywhere in that front 7, with the exception of maybe nose and shit. He probably can do that. Instincts to go along with athleticism. He gives you pass rush from the linebacker position. These negatives, I really didn't have to put them on there, but I did. It's slender at 6'5", 243, but that really ain't no negative to me. That's a positive. It's just on there because people complain if you ain't the right thickness at the same height or whatever, Paul. But and the only real negative is over aggression sometimes. And just about every linebacker we watched had the same negative at some point. But that's because you want to be able to pull a guy back. And we've said this a bunch of times already on this show. You don't want to have to make them sick.
Right.
And sometimes he sees pullers and he just beats the play there. And like he's there waiting on the play, and he's there so early they go a different direction because he didn't diagnose it and his athleticism then took him where he needs to be. But that could be calmed down, and it will be calmed down in the NFL because the game's gonna be faster. So, but again, him and Reese together, man, that's whoever the linebacker coach is in that room. You ain't have to do much work, buddy. You just have to run your everyday drills and let them boys go do their thing. Make sure they lined up what they were supposed to. You ain't teach them too much, dog. No offense to you, whoever you are. Them too much can go. All right. Any closing marks on Styles?
Now you looking forward to going to work every day when that's who you are.
Right. All right. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. And lastly, C.J. Allen from UGA. So I do know C.J. Allen's running mate. And I'll tell you a quick story about his running mate real quick. It's the linebacker beside him. This ain't C.J. Allen. The linebacker beside him is from Tallahassee. Yeah, number 5. Right? He's from Tallahassee. Okay. And when I left the school I was in, I was going back to the school I came from, and I was gonna go back as the DC. Just to, because the head coach was the DC really, but he wanted somebody he trusts so he could spend more time on the offensive side because they had offensive coordinator at the time, and he didn't want me to step on their toes. So I was like, yeah, I coach D. So for a spring, I got to coach that Raylan. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, one time after they got there, this kid came back to one of the practices and was in the weight room. Lord have mercy. Greek God, but in the right, bulkier. But CJ Allen, I think this is yours. Mike, you go ahead and start us.
Yeah. Yeah, this was probably, all of these guys I enjoy watching, but this is probably the most fun watch. Even with Sonny, even with Vale, and those, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good stuff on their tape. I really like watching CJ Allen because I was like, this dude, yes, he wears the number 3. No, we're not saying he's Roquan Smith, but you could tell that he kind of patterned his game after Ro. He moves like Ro.
Mm-hmm.
He said that today. He said it today after the combine.
Yeah, he moves like him. When you watch him, you know how you used to watch Kobe back in the day and say Kobe moves like Jordan. You could tell he tried to emulate that. That's what it looks like with CJ, that he tried to, even down to the way Rowe ran, that he tried to play that way. But yeah, he's got compact build. You talked about that, Coach. High level communicator, pre and post snap. You'll see some clips on here where he's communicating stuff during the play. Like this might be one of them right here. Is this one?
Yep.
It's like, hey, he's still trying to direct traffic, and that's why this got out the gate, because he was trying to direct traffic, and it didn't. Everybody didn't get it, didn't see it. But he's doing that even after the ball is snapped. Good key and diagnose ability. He appears to study formation keys and identify plays. Physical, taking on blocks, but he will lose the one-on-one on versus bigger offensive linemen on occasion. But again, I say that, but I should add the context because it's in my mind, but I haven't said it out loud. We not in the old school NFL. There ain't no more Levon Kirklands out there, right? 270-pound inside linebackers who can stalemate and even win consistently against offensive linemen. Most of these guys going to be 230, 240. Mm-hmm. At the most 240, maybe 220, maybe in the 220s, 230s is probably more common. And so, yeah, they sometimes just genetically they're going to lose those matchups. So I don't always ding them for that, but I note it, right? He got attacking downhill style. He's not a liability in coverage, but he could be a step late to react in zone from time. And I think some of that might be processing because he's trying to do so much. Mm-hmm. He's trying to get so many people in the right spots and communicate so much information. Sometimes that can take away for your own individual play. Sometimes he missed some open field tackles when he was tracking ball carriers and they cut back on him. So it was like a real specific kind of situation when he was missing tackles, where he's full like turn running towards the sideline and a guy cuts back. That's going to get almost anybody because your body's just not in position. Let's see. He'll strike ball carriers as a tackler, especially when he has a runway to build up speed. Quick to react and drive on the ball when it's in front of him in zone coverage, makes PBUs. Backfield action can take him out of position at times in zone coverage. So like run action, if the QB escapes the pocket. Again, he's natural though. He's just following his eyes, and his eyes are taking him where the action is. He's listed as 6'1", but I don't know if I'm seeing 6'1" right there. He might be. We'll see what official measurements are, because he just looks a little more compact to me. Mm-hmm. But I think because he maybe is a little bit undersized and arm length, I'm not so sure about his arm length. I think that's where you could see some limitations in coverage and like block discretion, because when you don't have those crazy long arms, 33, 34-inch arms, some of those windows in coverage, you're not going to be able to close some of those windows as fast as guys who have a little bit more arm length. But I like him, and it's probably going to be a minority opinion, but out of all of the guys that we have on this list, he's my favorite guy.
Okay.
I love CJ Allen. Just put it out there like that.
Chris?
Yeah, you put on the film and he looks like a throwback. Well, he plays like a throwback inside linebacker, but he has new school traits to him. Mm-hmm. And, to me, when I watch him, he's easily the best tackler in the class, like to me. And what Mike said, him going downhill, it kind of looks like Roquan. Like, I don't think he has the diagnosing skills that Roquan had when he was coming out of Georgia, but like just him going straight downhill, it looks like Roquan. Him just being able to wrap up and tackle and be a short tackler. I'm not sure if I can't remember tackles that I saw him miss, like just straight one-on-one. I'm in front of you, there's nowhere to go type of tackles. Like
the FF got him with 8, but I ain't see him while I was watching.
Yeah, he's an incredibly talented tackler. Also incredibly physical too. Now, when it comes to coverage, I think he's a good athlete, like just straight line athlete. And I'm a little bit pissed off at him because he's not going to test at the combine, and I was looking forward to that. So I'm a little bit pissed off at him about that. But I think he's a good athlete, like just straight line, linear athlete. I think what gives him a little bit of trouble is that wiggle, that where you have to change directions. I think him, moving the mass that he has, I think it's a little bit difficult for him. Not to say that he's clunky or anything like that. It's just not as smooth. I think when you watch Roquan when he was coming out, there was a fluidness to his movement. And whether it was in space or attacking forward, I think with Allen, he's a little bit stiffer than Roquan was, but he still has that speed to him. And you can see it in that play as well. But, like Mike said, this is somebody who is going to communicate, going to be the leader of your defense. There's a story about him coming because he went to Georgia early. So they're getting ready for the national championship game. He's a freshman, but he's not even like on the team yet.
He's technically a high schooler.
Right.
So what happens is when you sign early, if the team makes a bowl, you can practice.
Right. So he was running the scout team, and he was on the scout team defense, and people were like, who the hell is this dude? Because he was out there running around with his hair on fire. So for him to have that kind of cachet and that kind of confidence and ability to come onto a team preparing for a national championship and to have that kind of impression, it speaks volumes to the kind of person that he is and the kind of player and work ethic and just the way that he carries himself. And anybody who can have that, that's somebody that you want to be the leader of your defense. And it's easy to pop in the CJ Allen tape and really fall in love with the kind of player that he is.
Agreed. The notes I have for him, football IQ and his instincts are off the chain. You can tell by the communication and all that stuff. And what else I got? Violent tackler. Like Chris mentioned earlier, he don't miss a lot of tackles, and a lot of his tackles are not let me hit you and drag you down. Like I'm going to hit you hard, and you're going to stop right there. So defensive stops for him have a whole different meaning because there wasn't no I'm gonna fight for this extra inch and yard after contact ground. That's where you at with him. Speed and acceleration, a good sideline to sideline linebacker. Even though I don't think he's asked to be the speed guy in that defense because Raylan was a 10-something 100 guy and he playing linebacker, number 5. And then a high motor, high effort guy. High motor, high effort. Only concern is like Chris talked about earlier in coverage. You might can get got there and then he over pursues a little bit sometime, but that's from that aggression that I done basically said. But damn near everybody on this list because they are so aggressive at getting downhill and doing what they need to do violently that if every now and then a good back will come out the back door on them because they were too aggressive. But that's nothing that like would drop his stock in my eyes. It's just seeing a few plays and realizing that he was there, but he was there too aggressive, or he ran past the tackle or something like that. But I like CJ. CJ wasn't the best for me. I kind of went in this pre-diagnosed with a guy that I want me a sleeper. That's why he's on the list. Perkins. I want me a sleeper. I want him to have a good career. And why I don't know. Because pretty much all these linebackers we talked about, they either get talked about a lot or they're day 1 or day 2 linebackers. Perkins may be 3. But depending on what he do the rest of this weekend, he could be day 2. Could be. Because I pretty much all these guys I can see playing multiple positions, with the exception of this is gonna sound bad when I say it. I can see all these guys playing multiple positions, with the exception of Fisher and Rodriguez.
So what you saying, Coach?
Okay. I'm moving on. But again, I like this group of 6. Chris gave his favorite. Mike, who was your favorite again?
I said CJ Allen. It was tough between Sonny Styles and CJ Allen because I like Sonny Styles a lot, but it'd be like a 1A, 1B type of situation.
Gotcha. And so that is our episode on linebackers. For Draft Junkies, we're gonna come to you next week with a different skill set. Preferably, I think it's gonna be back on the offensive side because this will be the third defensive group we've done. And yeah, definitely. It's probably what 6 in the NCAA and 3 in the NFL. But I appreciate y'all for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us. I appreciate y'all watching. If you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube and subscribe to get some more good content. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button. And it'll be here. I'm not gonna let YouTube chop it up, so we're just gonna sit here in its entirety, and we'll put out some shorter videos from this episode later on this week. So again, I appreciate y'all for coming through and listening to us, and hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got some kind of insight on the kid that you maybe did not know or weren't too high on, and maybe we turned your nose up against somebody. So put that down in the comment section as well, and I appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next one. This might be your deep cover podcast for the week too, so be thankful.
Sip responsibly.
Hey, that too. Sip responsibly. Sip responsibly. Oh, there it is. Merch at the store. Go get it.